acknowledge you as God, creator of all. And dear Lord, we just thank you for the many blessings of life. And especially now, we thank you for the opportunity to live in such a great community, good city, good state, dear Lord, and good country. And we just appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. Ask your blessings now on our meeting tonight. Lead and guide us all, that we will address the topics in a way that are best interest of our city. Lead and guide and direct in all ways. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'll call the February 10th, 2025 meeting of the Newcastle Public Works Authority to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl Nell.
Here.
Mike Fullerton.
Here.
Jean Reed.
Here.
Kimberly Sutton. Here. Marcy White.
Item number 2, discussion of possible action on approval of the agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, moving item number 6E to under item number 4J in the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the agenda as amended.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes.
Agenda.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Item number 3, citizen comments. This is opportunity for any citizen to comment on any matter related to the City of Newcastle Public Works that is not on the agenda. I'm not reminding potential speakers. All speakers should clearly state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only one speaking opportunity. Board members will not respond to comments or questions. The chair may comment period at his discretion, and prior authorization is required for distribution of materials or to approach the board. This time, is there any citizen comment related to public works? All right. Seeing none, move to item number 4, consent agenda. Is there any item any member of the board desires to be removed from the consent agenda and addressed individually? Seeing none, item number 4, consent agenda.
Your motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5, discussion of possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. Being no action on that agenda item. Item number 6, discussion of possible action on adjustment of utility accounts. Item number 6A, account number 12-3321-02, at service address of 1321 Brooks Drive, Farrell Bulmer. Is Ms. Bulmer or a representative present this evening? I'll make a motion to continue this item to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Motion second for continuance.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Jean Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6B, account number 11-0020-01, at service address of 200 Southeast 4th Street, Nancy Dozier. Ms. Dozier or a representative here this evening? Please approach the podium. It looks like you had a water leak.
I did have a water leak like a month before, but this wasn't the same. What happened is, after I got my water leak through my toilets, about a month later in September, Labor Day weekend, there were several crews. One was a cable company, another one, they were all asking permission to dig in my backyard. And one day they used my water hose, which they asked my husband. But we had left on a Thursday, that same weekend, Labor Day weekend, and we didn't get back till Monday. And my water hose had been left on, and my backyard looked like a big pond. And so when I got the water bill, it was $264 for 1 month.
Next was the September water bill.
I believe it was September Labor Day weekend, so it was on that bill.
It's 9/24, that's like the...
Right.
All right, did you?
I tried. I talked to some people that had come to do some cleanup, and they said, well, it wouldn't have been us. You have to check with this other company, but I never, there was like 3 different people out there. There were people out there digging and going through the little man hose, I have a couple of those out there in the backyard, but they were They were laying some kind of cable.
Well, that's you. Well, because that's in there, huh?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to adjust the September utility bill down to the average of the prior 12 months. Motion second for adjusting the utility account.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6C, account number 07-3559-01. At surface address 4000 South Harvey Street, J. Dobbs, E. Owen Property, LLC.
Good evening, sir. We were also subject to a water main break in the front of our property, out in the ditch along, like a foot away from the meter. So because it was in the ditch, we never noticed it, but we were contacted by the water department. They came out and said, hey, you have a leak, and they marked it on our fence line with paint. So we went out, of course, repaired it, turned off the water, repaired it, but by then the damage had already been done. And it must have been out there for a while.
$772,000, that was probably a pretty good bill. Or gallon, sorry.
Yeah. $5,916.
That's a big one.
Like I said, it was in the ditch, so we never even noticed it.
Well, it does look like it was all contained to one building cycle, pretty much. That was like, but that's the one that's higher. I will make a motion to adjust the December 2024 utility bill down to the average prior 12 months. Motion second for adjustment is utility account.
Sorry.
Did you provide receipts to the city clerk or anyone when you did repairs?
No, sir.
Okay, you have those that you could provide?
I can get them, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
if you would get those to the city clerk, we appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6D, account number 05-1823-01, at service address of 2640 Northwest 31st Street, James and Kimberly Turner. Mr. and Mrs. Turner or representative here this evening. All right, make a motion to continue this item to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Motion second for continuance.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 7, discussion of possible action on approval of real estate purchase agreement for part of the Northwest Quarter, Section 13, 9 North, 4 West Indian Rigging, McLean County, Oklahoma, including roll-off containers, tools, and equipment on site from People's Bank of Trust, property address 1880 Northeast 16th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma.
City attorney had made some changes, revisions to the contract that People's Bank had sent us. We sent that back to them, and they have accepted that agreement. Ready for signature if council approves, and we continue moving forward. We have not received the appraisal yet. That hasn't come in just yet, but the agreement is contingent upon the appraisal and financing.
Very good. Any questions about this?
Which appraisal that, because there were two, right?
Yes, we've received the appraisal of the vehicles, just not the property.
Gotcha, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anything motion?
I make a motion to approve item 7. A second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 8, monthly treasurer's report. We just want to get that to this meeting on here. Yeah. City treasurer is not feeling well this evening, so we'll skip item, action on item number 8. Item number 9, general manager's comments.
Our guys at the water department just continues to operate as usual. Effluent line is still going. The influent line on the new wastewater plant has been completed. They are starting to paint, interior paint on the admin building out at the wastewater plant. And we do have a meeting with them, update meeting this Wednesday. I was out there, what day was that?
Last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday. I was out there last Wednesday to approve the paint colors and things are taking shape really quickly. They still believe that we will have that wastewater plant operational by May of this year. So we're getting very, very close. So that's really all I have at this point.
Great.
Item number 10, any trustee comments? Item number 11 is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion second for adjournment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Someone call the February 10th, 2025 meeting of the Newcastle City Council to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl Nell.
Here.
Mike Fullerton.
Here.
Gene Reed.
Here.
Kimberly Sutton. Here. Marcy White. Here.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action on approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 3, citizens' comments. Opportunity for any citizen to comment on any matter related to the city of Newcastle that is not on the agenda. Might remind me potential speakers that all speakers shall clearly state the name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, only one speaking opportunity. Council members will not respond to comments or questions. The mayor may end comment period at his discretion, and prior authorizations required for distribution of materials or to approach the council. This time is any citizen comment related to the city of Newcastle. Seeing none, move to item number 4, consent agenda. Is there any item any member of council desires to be removed from the consent agenda and addressed individually? Seeing none, item number 4, consent agenda.
Make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5, discussion and possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. Being no action on that agenda item. Item number 6, discussion and possible action on recommendation of planning commission. Item 6A, public hearing, discussion and possible action on application for rezoning for CC2 Community Commercial District. The PDD Planned Unit Development for Newcastle Public Works Authority located in the northwest quarter, section 23, Township 9 North, range 4, West Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma. Property address 250 South Main Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma. Case number R2024-012. This is being continued by the Planning Commission. We continue to our next regularly scheduled meeting. Item 6B, discussion of possible action on preliminary plat for the City of Newcastle, Newcastle Public Works Authority, Commercial Planned Unit Development, PUD. This is also been continued by the Planning Commission and will be addressed at our next meeting. Item number 6C, discussion of possible action on Planning Commission recommendation to approve application for rezoning from PUD Planned Unit Development to PUD Planned Unit Development for CFH Lakeview LLC, Barzana Development LLP, and Shaz Investment Group LLC. Property located in northwest quarter, section 25, Township 9 North, range 4, West Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma. And adoption ordinance number 986, property located at Southeast 16th Street and South Portland Avenue, Newcastle, Oklahoma. Case number 2024-013.
Good evening, Council. Janae Greenlee with the Newcastle Planning Department. The next 3 items, I'm just going to say, kind of all go together. You're going to hear my same spiel every time. I can go over it this one time, and you guys can decide if you want me to speak on the next few. Basically, the Brush Creek Planned Unit Development, their preliminary plat and their final plat, they've only done one final plat, one first phase that's under, right now is completed, has been accepted. They came to us and they wanted to change it from Brush Creek Edition to Lakeview Edition because Home Creations and the Farzanis have a couple other developments that are named Brush Creek. To do that, because it's a PUD, it's an ordinance, and it goes along with the preliminary plat and final plat, we directed them to come back and go through the public hearing process to change that name officially to the Lakeview Planned Unit Development, and hence the preliminary plat and the final plat. This is located at Southeast 16th and South Portland Avenue. It's for the 125.43 acres. As you can see on the screen, the PUD in the middle and the future land use map and the aerial plan. Like I said, they are under starting to submit building permits for the phase 1 of this development. It's already been accepted. Nothing else is changing except the name from Brush Creek to Lakeview. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item?
Is there a lake in view? There's a creek in view, but is there a lake in view? Just asking.
Maybe a pond.
Just asking in case anyone asks us, but,
Let it rain.
They're gonna make one.
it can be a big one, no question.
Anything motion?
I'll make a motion to approve item 6C.
A second.
Motion second for approval of item number 16.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
sorry. Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 16. Discussion and possible action on adoption of emergency clause, ordinance number 986.
I'll move to approve item 6B.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6B.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6E, discussion and possible action on planning commission recommendation to approve preliminary plat of Lakeview Plan Unit Development, formerly Brush Creek. Same old.
Same spiel.
Any questions?
Comments? Any
I'll
public
move
comment
to-
on this?
All right, I'll move to approve item 6E.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6E.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6F, discussion and possible action on planning commission recommendation to approve final plat of Lakeview Section 1, a replat of Brush Creek Section 1.
I'll move to approve item 6F.
Second. Motion second for approval of item number 6F.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Jean Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6D, public hearing discussion and possible action on planning commission recommendation to approve application for rezoning from E1 suburban estate residential to A agriculture and amendment to the 2040 future land use map from suburban residential to estate residential for Steve R. Kossow and Nikki A. Kossow. Local property located in the northeast quarter of section 16, township 9 north, range 4 west, Indian Meridian, Plain County, Oklahoma, and adoption of ordinance number 987. Property address 1951 Northwest 8th Street, Newcastle, Oklahoma, case number R2025-001.
This request is for rezoning from E1 suburban estate residential to A general agriculture district for Steve and Nikki Koshow. They are the owners and the applicants at 1951 Northwest 8th Street. Sorry about that. This is for 15 acres. It is at the end of a private road. The current zoning, as is stated, is E1. They came in for a building permit. They started building their primary residence, their main dwelling, and then they came in for a accessory building permit. When they did that, the placement of that building was going to be, they wanted it in front of the main dwelling, which in E1 you cannot have a accessory structure in front of the main dwelling. It has to be in the rear behind the main house. So with that, staff looked at this property and being on a private road, being that it was 15 acres, because of the placement and there really wasn't a hardship to go through Board of Adjustment, they decided to move it to the Ag District, which allows accessory buildings in front of the main dwelling. The surrounding land use is all large lot, single-family dwelling, and agriculture. Same thing with the zoning, and all these properties on this portion of Northwest H Street all meet the 5-acre minimum for ag as well. So there would not really be any impact to those surrounding neighbors. There is a land use amendment required when they went from the E1 to the ag. It needed to be moved to estate residential because this is a zoning district that's recognized by that land use, future land use map, the ag district. So there is a land use amendment required to go along with this. Staff recommends approval and Planning Commission recommends approval with a vote of 4-0. I'm happy to answer any questions and the applicants are here as well.
We already had issue with water.
You don't.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. that they're allowed to do the private service lines. The city has nothing to do with that. But yes, each one of those lots will have a private service line
Is this
also.
on the north side of 8th Street? Is that,
Yes, it's on the north side of 8th Street.
I know when I saw that, I thought, oh, yeah.
At the very end, it's the last lot in this.
I may have a question, just as city staff, it's just curiosity. I have no issue with that. Assuming we approve that, and that owner chooses to split that acreage up, because one of these days they may want to split it up and zone it back. They're at liberty to do that if they want to, right?
Except that this is a private road, and this was an interesting subdivision because it just went and filed with the county and didn't go through the process. So they have covenants that are tied to it that really don't have anything to do with the city. However, there is no road. That road ends right at the corner of their lot.
Okay.
So there's not frontage to do a lot split in the future unless they were to go in and build that and extend that road.
If they did though, and wanted to change that back to a different zoning, then it would be outside. The point is that structure is not within our zoning for a state. And
So ag requires 5 acres
Right.
minimum.
so that home site would probably have to always be on 5 acres.
That's correct.
Otherwise, in theory, the building would have to come down.
Probably wouldn't make them take down the building, but I mean, we would not allow a lot split that would make a non-conforming lot.
That's what I meant. I mean, worst case, so if they change it to ag, they have to maintain ag, at least for that home site and the structure there.
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
Yep, and if they wanted to potentially split, they'd have to meet a whole slew of other regulations.
Okay,
that allow
and that's
that.
not, and I'm not trying to burden
Oh, you're fine.
with that, I just kind of wondered how that would
Good to
happen.
know, right?
Yeah.
The
Thank you.
covenants for this development, do they restrict manufactured homes?
Yes, they did in their covenants. They did.
Switching, rezoning to ag would allow typically manufactured homes to be located there,
But they've got covenants.
but they've got covenants that they can fight that out.
That's great.
Thank you.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item?
Make a motion to approve item 6G. Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6G.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6H, discussion of possible action on adoption of emergency clause in ordinance number 987.
Motion to approve agenda item 6H. Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6H.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6I, public hearing, discussion of possible action on planning commission recommendations to approve application for rezoning from A agriculture to E1 suburban estate residential for Derek Nettle, located in the southwest northeast quarter of the southeast quarter of section 30, township 9 north, range 4 west, in the Meridian, County, Oklahoma, and adoption of ordinance number 988. Property address is 2129 State Highway 76, Newcastle, Oklahoma, case number R2025-002.
This request is for a rezoning from the A General Agriculture District to E1 Suburban Estate Residential District for Mr. Derek Nettle. He is the owner and applicant at 2129 South State Highway 76. This is for 5 acres. It is located on the west side of Highway 76. You can see on the left side of your screen the aerial, the current zoning in the middle, which is ag, and then the future land use is estate residential. There is no land use amendment required with this application, as it does meet that criteria. What Mr. Nettle would like to do, there is currently a home on the north side of the property. He would like to divide that and retain 3 acres for a future home on the south side of the property. There's already one access drive off of 76 So basically, he's rezoning for a future potential lot split to E1 to allow the 80,000 square foot minimum lot area. So you have a 2-acre lot and a 3-acre lot. The surrounding land use you can see is on this on the west side of the street, mostly the ag district with some E1 and E2, or excuse me, E2 on the east side of the street. Planning Commission did make recommendation for approval with a vote of 4-0, and staff does support and approve this request. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Is that existing house, frame house, is not a mobile home
No, it is not a mobile home.
house?
The applicant is here for any additional questions as well.
Public comment concerning this agenda item? Questions, comments from council? Entertain a motion.
Make motion for agenda item 6. Aye.
Second.
Motion second for approval, item number 6I.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 6J, discussion and possible action on adoption of the emergency clause of ordinance number 988.
Make a motion for agenda item 6J.
Second.
Motion second for approval, item number 6J.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Marcy White, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item 6K, discussion and possible action on adoption of ordinance number 989, amending section 150.30H, general contractor license, section 150, Appendix A, table 5, contractor licensing and registration fees, line 1, clarifying existing language and amending requirements for general contractors.
This item is an ordinance amendment to chapter 150, the building regulations and construction. You remember we had recently, this last year, adopted the 2018 building code and had made some amendments. After reviewing that and actually going through with general contractor licensing, we found a couple things that we needed to change and clarify in this ordinance. Basically, it does a couple things. It does not require a general contractor's license for a homeowner or property owner that's going to be acting as their own contractor. Therefore, they don't have to pay the permit fee. They don't have to have liability insurance and workman's comp currently, which are things that would be required if you were working on somebody else's property. So that's the main language in the ordinance that has changed, and just clarifying who is required to have that. Also, the fee in our appendix, changing the general contractor licensing fee from $200 to $100, and then the renewal being $50, and taking out the insurance title that is in there, because that is not correct that under our requirements. So basically, it's a cleanup item for chapter 150, appendix A. Staff makes recommendation of approval, and Planning Commission recommended approval with a vote of 4-0.
I have some questions. I mean, I got called about it.
Okay.
And then I went down the rabbit hole. Which is, I mean, that's fine,
Yeah.
but, it's not something I've dealt with before, so going down the rabbit hole is dangerous because we start asking all these questions. And I kind of, okay, I have a couple of, first, it was pointed out, and I agree, do we need to call a license? We're not really licensing anybody. They're registering. Can we, because when you hear license, you think of a test or something like that. It's not really licensing somebody. Really, they're registering, which I've talked to a few people, and really everybody's all over the place about it, on why we're requiring, if we can require all of it, and who's required to do it. So we have some background on, like, okay, here's the source of this. And is it different for commercial versus residential? Like, I understand some of what I read was like, well, you've got a prime contractor, and ultimately they're the one coming to the city. They're the first head of shop, right? And yes, there are some trades that require licensing, and part of their licensing, they have to show those things. Every city requires those things from them, but there are other subcontractors that aren't licensed, and I would guess that we're saying the prime contractor, we're making sure that they're bringing in people that this person is saying, I'm licensed I'm insured and pay workman's comp.
That's correct.
So if these people prove to not,
Well,
or is that where that falls?
yeah, so all of the trades, so your plumbing, electrical, mechanical, all require licenses as well through the city.
Yeah.
And yearly, they have to update them every year. The general contractor, it's more for the clarification. If I'm a property owner and I want to manage my home build, I don't have to come in and get a general contractor license. The way that it was written before did not have that clarified when we did this amendment and adopted that new 2018 code. And this way, it protects homeowners as well. So it doesn't just, you don't get, a contractor come in and say, I'm going to build a home for Mr. Jones, and they don't have to have any insurance or any workman's comp. So it kind of protects the homeowner and then clarifies that if I'm the homeowner and I want to hire my own concrete guy, my framers, I want to coordinate with all of my trades, I don't need a contractor. I'm going to be the manager of that project.
Right.
So I don't need workman's comp and liability insurance. I don't need to pay for a license. To answer your first question, is not calling it a license or a permit. If we wanted to change it.
Well, that I know, and I think you probably know that the pushback is you're not licensing you to do anything, and we're really not. Where the city is making sure that proper coverages are there in the event that something would happen. But then the other piece that comes up from that is I'm building, and that's where I got real fuzzy between what's the difference between residential and commercial. Some cities, when I looked up, they had a requirement to register. Funny, one city, I don't remember if it was more, or if it was one city, used the word license and registration interchangeably. I was like, pick a name.
Right, right.
And so I know what the intention is behind it, but they kind of interchanged it even in their own ordinance. Because I talked to a developer who's built thousands of homes, was like, yeah, you've got to, because even workman's comp comes back at you if you don't show that you've been keeping their license or their workman's comp up. You're going to pay more, and you're going to pay on what you paid them if they didn't have it, yada, yada, yada. So I get that. That was more on the residential, but I couldn't find anything on commercial that showed that. And so when I looked at other cities, I saw they were requiring the registration / license, whatever, on the residential side, but not necessarily commercial. And so I was like, okay, so at the core of it, is it because as a city, we want whatever's being built in our city, that if there's adequate coverage on the behalf of the prime contractor for anybody that's working for them? Because there are contractors who are not required to be licensed. There's only the big four or whatever, but the other ones don't. So is that like integrity of the city?
Yeah.
For what's happening in
and
the city?
building codes, that they can hire a framer that's not licensed. They can hire, their concrete guy.
Landscaping. There's a lot of things, painting, whatever.
Correct.
Okay.
That don't require, they're not trades, so they don't require those licenses.
Okay, so then my next question, like I said, I went down the rabbit hole, so I apologize, but I do want to understand. And I wasn't here when we went through this before, because then I was like, oh my gosh, I went through something, I don't even remember it. Like I was freaking out, and I went back and I was like, oh my God, it was happening. It disturbed me that I could,
okay.
So if I'm a business owner, I'm building for commercial, I don't have any employees, I can exempt myself from workman's comp. Like my sister works for me. I could technically not have to pay workman's comp. I still need to show the exemption if that's the case then.
That would
Or
probably
I would
be
do
the
it
case
If I have no
then.
other, or if I'm an
Mhm.
only employee, then I don't
Mhm.
have to do it.
Mhm.
But still, that would show, I would still need to show the insurability or the insurance.
Right, right. And so that's you raise an interesting question, because if I'm a subcontractor, I'm not really employed by that GC.
You know, it's a 1099.
But if I am a general contractor and I'm working on commercial or residential, if I'm hiring somebody that doesn't and they're on that property, that could cover them. You know, their liability. Maybe not workman's comp, but that liability.
But the liability of
Mhm.
or just somebody walking onto the property,
Mhm.
some homeless person getting hurt at the time. I mean,
Anybody,
a
you
lot of
know.
scenarios. Okay, and then, so, I mean, okay. Somebody else has questions, go ahead. I'm just thinking through it. Just trying to think through it and make sure I understand it a little before.
I think my biggest deal is that, of course, with the license, using the term license and or registration. I don't mind the registration, but I do feel like the fees. What is our contract? What is the general contractor getting out of that registration?
It's more about what we're getting as well. I mean, we're getting somebody that we know that's working on somebody else's property that now has to show that they're licensed, or that they're insured with liability and carry workman's comp. So it's a safeguard for our citizens and anybody that's building in Newcastle.
Okay, so help me out here. What is that $200?
So now it's 100. So we're changing it from 200 to 100 with a $50 renewal.
So someone comes to the city and we register them.
That's correct.
We're not licensing them, we're registering them, and we register them only after they meet these requirements.
So if they're going to work on somebody else's property,
Right.
whether it's commercial, residential. If I'm working for Mr. Jones, I have to have a license or registration. We can change it to registration from the city if we don't want to call it a license. We call it a license because everything else is licensed, You're a tradesman and you got an electrical license, you got a mechanical license, you have a plumbing license. So
Yeah, but they
it went
tested
in
for
line.
theirs, though.
It went in line with what the requirement is.
Right.
And
I would kind of see it as a business license too, more
and
so.
we'll call it a business
Doing business in town, because
Yeah.
every business is.
It's not a license they carry with them to show anyone else, right? You haven't licensed them to do any work in any other city.
No, it's just
No,
for Newcastle. This is only Newcastle.
Correct, so.
Yeah.
So you're not handing them a document that they can use, it's just. a
All
license.
trades and all contractors have to, within each municipality, have to go and get all of their licenses in each city that they're gonna work in.
So we weren't doing this before now,
We did not have a general contracting license before,
required.
no. And so, then you get somebody that hires some Frank Bob to manage their project, and all of a sudden they've turned in a building permit, but there's no foundation plan, there's no elevations, there's no landscape plan, or there's things missing. And so we call Mr. Jones and say, hey, do you have these? Oh, I'm letting the homeowner do it. It's a safeguard to ensure for anybody that's building in the city is qualified to be a contractor. Anybody can be a general contractor. It's managing all of that build, whether it's commercial or residential, and making sure that they have insurance, liability insurance, and workman's comp for the safeguard of that property owner.
Well, and I could be wrong, but I also think about if this, and I've thought about this in similar instances before, if the city is permitting this stuff and something were to happen, they didn't have coverage, if somebody potentially would come back to the city and say, you permitted them to do this, and even try to hold the city liable somewhat, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's a little bit of a safeguard on the city's behalf, just because don't drag us down the road. We did our due diligence in making sure that people were insured if they're going to be doing these things, right, for the integrity of what's being built in the city or whatever. But one thought I had, and this, I could be completely off because I don't do your job, but is that not something we can require when they come in for permits? Is you can have your permit when you show us your,
Well, that's
And
why
then
we
it's-
have to put it in the ordinance.
upon instance of building, not just if you think you're gonna build here, but when you come in to build.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
permit, just give us your proof of insurance and workman's comp or whatever, and you get, as part of a permit checklist,
Mhm.
rather than a separate
Mm.
piece. I'm just thinking, I mean,
It's easier for, my opinion would be, it would be easier for, it would be better for us to track and say, oh, Joe Bob has his GC license with the city. We've got his, insurance and we've got his workman's comp. So every time he wants to build, he doesn't have to show that. It's
True.
just for that year.
for,
Excuse me. And then the annual renewal gets that sent out every year. Our planning staff sends those out to all of them to say, hey, if you register now, it's only $50. If you wait, then you have to pay the full fee. So we try to, we send those out. So whoever has been working in Newcastle gets renewed every year.
I did notice that the city of Warren fits in theirs also, and I don't know if we have it in here, so correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a few days since I looked at it, that by doing this, it in no way endorses anybody
No,
as.
that's correct.
I don't, do we have that in there?
Yes, that
Okay.
does not endorse
Okay.
certain builders or certain contractors
Right.
or certain trades. No.
Since you brought up the example of that Bob drops the ball and said, how did those two requirements that you just said that license him, workman's comp and insurance, how does that help you with him still not?
Well, we wouldn't require it every time. I think what she was saying is that
Yeah.
show it every time you come in for a permit. All of our permitting now is e-permitting. Everything is online.
But the example you gave a moment ago is that guy, that person didn't do all the proper steps and left it to the homeowner to do it. How does the two requirements of licensing or help prevent that?
Well, I think that it's just more credibility more than anything. So if you're carrying liability insurance and workman's comp, you have credibility.
It's an indication of your.
Yes. Yeah. If I don't have those things, then I'm not willing to put myself out there and say I'm a credible contractor that manages these projects.
Thank you.
On the same note, I know, like my neighbors, I took, just say, prime example, they paid, I think, X amount of dollars for a general contractor to come in and do it, and he was a general contractor, had been building in Oklahoma City more and everywhere else, and then he went belly up and took the money and ran to another state and let them hold the bag, and they've slowly. I'm not so sure this would even help correct that.
Oh, no, this won't help correct that. It just provides a little level of legitimacy and protection. Because like I just said, that credibility, and he could have had liability and workman's comp, I'm not sure. But I mean, if you don't have those safeguards, then it just opens it up to anybody. I mean, anybody can say, hey, I'm a general contractor, let me manage your project, and yeah, and yeah.
So who would have a rub with us passing this tonight? Who would have?
Well, the reason we came to this is because we had a contractor that was working on their own property, and they did not want to pay. They said, hey, I'm working on my own property. Why do I have to provide liability insurance and workman's comp? And then clarifying that in the ordinance is what we needed to do.
Which does not require them to get it.
That's correct.
So they wouldn't have a right
No,
to do this.
any homeowner,
So
any property owner, whether you're commercial or residential.
Who might have a rub? Who would have a rub with it? Anybody?
People that don't want to pay to get the liability insurance and workman's.
Okay.
But they got an exemption in there.
Right.
The homeowners do.
The homeowners do.
Yeah, the homeowner
Contractors do not.
But not, yeah, the homeowner has the exemption.
Okay, yeah, so we may have
Yeah.
several contractors who say now it's gonna go pay $100.
For the year.
Okay.
It's for a year. Uh-huh.
And prove they've got the insurance.
And prove they have the insurance.
So,
That's good enough.
okay, so, another question, I'm sorry. Okay, so even if it's a commercial building, if they own it, that's where I ran into trouble, because I went down this road of, okay, if I'm a commercial building, and it's just me and I subcontract everything, then I'm exempted, but
All the trades have to have their, so.
but a home builder, if it's just me and I contract everything out and then I'm gonna sell it for homes, if it's just my business, then I'm exempted too.
If I own the property,
If
I
I'm
can build a
financing it all, if I own
if I'm
it.
doing it, then I don't have to have a GC license
If you're building your own home.
if you're building your own home.
You know, you're gonna turn around and sell it.
Well, it is, how do you know it's mine? That's where I ran into trouble.
We
How do you know
require a warranty deed when we get it
Right.
permitted.
But if I know a lot of builders who buy it in their own business.
Sure, and they buy that property and then they,
Finance the whole
and
thing.
they finance the whole thing. That trades, all trades require, so they have to manage that, so I think is what you're getting at is kind of like.
They're gonna be
how-
exempted too.
They're gonna be exempted, if they are the property owner, they would be exempted. I don't run into that too much, we do have a few builders here,
Yeah, I
that
know.
do buy their own lots,
Right.
and then they manage, they're longtime builders
Yeah,
that we're
right.
very familiar
And
with.
I'm like,
And, you know, we haven't heard any,
okay.
haven't got any
I just making
feedback
sure, 'cause that
where
sounded
anybody
like
has
the same.
said, hey, we're not doing this, we're just builders, we're not, I mean, I haven't had
Right.
anybody come in and say that,
Okay. I think so. I understand, sorry.
no, you're fine.
Any other questions or concerns?
So basically, we've got an exception for contractors who own their own land.
Property owners, that's correct.
And commercial.
Either, whether it's commercial or residential, it doesn't include the zoning. The zoning does not have any bearing on whether they need, GC, just the ownership.
Entertain a motion?
Your objectives are saying you license permit or registration?
Well, I just, because it's a license and all of the other, trades are licenses, I just,
But those
we
are
get into
trades
the
or
different, because we
tested.
take in building permits and we have floodplain permits and we have permits. And I'd be hesitant to change it to something like a permit. It would, to me, it's a license.
We're not licensing them other than a business license to operate. in our
And then
community.
a business
Not
license.
operating, not
Well,
licensing them in their trade. A business license, like other businesses. Talk about the thing.
It just sounds that way. I think that that's the general contractor business license. But I can roll with it. Yeah.
If you ever find yourself in a position to enforce it and say to a contractor, you haven't really carried your license and you keep handing it to people and not finishing their jobs and you want to try to ban them from working in the city, it's easier to do if you're revoking your license than to say we're not going to let you register.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. I can handle it.
Would this be by individual or would it be by company?
That's how it works.
If it is a company that has several different contractors, we probably go through the company and list each one of those GCs under that company and say, okay, you know, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Jones, they all work for Whitehead Construction or whatever. And then that would carry underneath that business. And each one of those contractors underneath that, because they're all be on separate projects. They might not all be on, you know, working on
Same
Main
house.
Street, and they'll have another project that they're working in Coachella, or they're gonna work on Highway 9. So,
I was kind of curious because let's just say a general contractor started off as a company with ABC. He went belly up, and turned around, we banned him, and worked.
and then they change it and get
X, Y, Z,
somebody else.
and
Yeah.
then
So that's where that paper trail is looking at their liability insurance and who's named on that and their workman's comp will kind of give us a flag. We'll be like, oh, this is just a new name and it's still Mr. Jones that's doing this. And so we would then at that time probably not issue the general contractor license.
Thank you very much for your time, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Our motion to approve items 6K.
I'll second it.
Motion is second for approval of item number 6K.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Ness.
Item number 6L, discussion of possible action on adoption of emergency clause, ordinance number 989.
Motion to approve 6L.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6L.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton. Yes. Marcy White. Yes. Carl Ness.
Yes. Item number 7, discussion of possible action on approval of agreement with Traffic Control Associates, Inc. for engineering services for the Walker Drive Extension Bridge plans for bridges A and B.
We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago now, excuse me, with Craft and Toll, Jeffrey Dixon, regarding Bridge A, which is the longest bridge out there. I think it's about 100 feet on Walker. Excuse me. And these two bridges have not, these are the two shorter ones, and they have not been engineered at this point, although the Walker extension, all of the extension has been engineered. So the only thing we lack are these two small bridges. Right now, and I put all this in my report, I believe. Right now, if we get these two bridges engineered, the long bridge is supposed to go out to bid February 15th. If we get these engineered in time, which I think we will, there's a potential that we could just have each bridge built, one right after the other, potentially with the contractor that's coming in, whoever that may be that bids on the project. So there is a potential that we would build this long bridge in this budget year, right after July 1, we could build, depending on cost, we could build bridges A and B, the long bridge is C. Build bridges A and B, and then potentially next spring, a year from this spring, we could build the roadway, do all the connections, and that project would be completed and Walker Street opened up for circulation. That's the goal of this. I think this engineering for both of these bridges was just a little over $39,000. The good thing about this is that these two bridge locations has already been approved by FEMA. Flood zones and all that. The floodplains already been looked at. They've already given the blessing according to Craft and Toll. You correct me if I'm wrong.
I think they went back, but they were on their way. They're waiting on one of these documentations. We'll hold up now.
Okay, he told me in that meeting that these were approved, but.
I believe you.
Okay. So anyway, I just think it's a really good idea if we can move on these. And what is extremely good about this whole project is we're able to buy the steel through the county bid process, which is going to save us, at least right now, it's going to save us a couple $100,000 on this first bridge project. If we can get that material for same cost on the other two bridges, we're going to be in really, really good shape for this entire project.
How many bridges are there total?
3.
3? Okay.
So, although,
So we might have it open for school fall of 26.
no,
Right.
well, yes, that's the goal.
That would be good.
which will give us more traffic on 16th Street, which will give us a traffic light for MoDOT.
All right.
And life will be,
That's the whole kit.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be more traffic on
That's the plan.
16, but it'll unclog some of the clocks and all that, hopefully.
we need a little more traffic on 16 to meet a more contrary.
Yeah,
Well, we're gonna have more traffic on 16th when they start construction on 24th Street,
right,
or even on the interchange for the turnpike.
yeah, that's
That's
true.
true.
Any other questions or comments? No, entertain a motion.
Motion to approve agenda item. Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 7.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed.
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Lindsey Weiss. Yes. Darrell.
Yes. Item number 8, discussion and possible action on appointments to the zoning board of adjustment. Item 8A, reappointment of Gordon Harness for a 3-year term to expire February 2028. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 8A.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Lindsey Weiss. Yes. Darrell.
Item number 8B, reappointment of Lloyd P. Betty Eisen for a 3-year term to expire February 2028. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 8B.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Lindsey Weiss. Yes. Darrell.
Yes. Item number 8C, appointment of Dennis Sanders for a 3-year term to expire February 2028. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 8C.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Lindsey Weiss. Yes. Darrell.
So Dennis Sanders, we're hanging on to him as long as we can.
And, you know, the intermittent meetings not scheduled.
Right.
And he wanted to get back on.
Huh?
He wanted to get back on.
Very good.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
that's good.
Item number 9, discussion and possible action on appointment to cemetery board. Item 9A, reappointment of Bobby Nash for a 6-year term to expire February 2031. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 9A.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Gene Reed,
Yes.
Kimberly Sutton,
Yes.
Lindsey Weiss. Yes. Darrell.
Now, we need commitment out of the cemetery board, people. 6 years.
I know, that's what I was thinking over here. Nice.
Item number 10, city manager's comments.
I don't have any comments unless anybody has questions on the report that was submitted.
All right. Item number 11, council member comments. Well, that's Marcy.
I did all my talking, I told you, I got it out. I fed you through those last few easy ones since I had a lot of questions on the
Good
other.
night back up there.
I try to balance them out, you know.
Okay.
All right, then item number 12 is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second for adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
I try to keep it balanced out, you know.
Man,
I think that's the fastest meeting I've ever, since I've been in the city.
Really? With a decent amount of agenda items.
I've been sitting at home in my jammies and sitting in for Marcy.
I'm doing my due diligence, I'm trying to do my due diligence.
Is approved, but I just sent it back to you.
I freaked out until I finally looked at the thing, I was like, how can I remember anything?
Okay.
I was really upset.
Good deal. Appreciate it.
That's not okay.
I'm reading it. Are you?
No phone perspective.
I won't ask them.
Yeah, well, I just disturbed, I'm like, that can't be okay that I was there and I can't remember anything about
We weren't there.
I read them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll let her slide.
I had not been there, you know, I don't look at myself if I was there, so I finally got a minute to go back and look, and I was like,
Nap between pages?
like, well, I mean, like, that's not okay, like, that's not what I'm on this for, to just run through stuff so fast that I don't remember. I mean, we go through a lot, we go through a lot, but to have zero recollection, like, bothers me.